Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much again for joining me here. Hope you're having a great day. Let's take another look here at AVAX, double check a few key factors. I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about this potential resistance at this 0.618 fib level, that $50 range. We're right there essentially, so we got to kind of see if we're going to close above or below it. But at this point, $50 has been that point of contention for a little while, and we got to see how the price action responds to that. Either way, we're going to look at some backend data too, kind of get some perspective on the overall picture, and obviously look at macro too. This being a Monday, it's important to kind of just get a weekly recap. The weekly is going to be very bullish, though, in most circumstances. The majority of altcoins are looking pretty strong on the macro. So I don't really think it's advantageous to consider like massive shorts. I really think majority of bottoms are in, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. So $48 down as low as $46.80, maybe just say $47 to $48. Is a heavy concentration of liquidation to the downside. So the price does revisit that $48 range. It would be safe to presume we'll see a little bit further down at that point, or potentially even a lot further down, depending on how we look at it. Again, we got this pretty aggressive candle wick last Monday down to about $40. So it's not to say that that couldn't still get hit, but there's still some liquidity there as well, and we just got to be mindful of that. However, $47 to $48, again, kind of that consistency with liquidation. We can see a lot of liquidation delta here for AVAX kind of being pretty low. So me personally at this point, I think $50 may be a good consideration for a long, just based on the simple fact that we've been maintaining this range for a long time. In other words, we're going on about 3 days now of bearish divergence, and you can only short for so long until the bulls decide they want to consider to buy, or also, more importantly, the fact that we're maintaining this range that shows that the bulls are controlling this $48 to $50 range, and that there's stronger likelihood of the price not going lower. Again, you don't want to go against the grain here specifically, but this does tell us if the short delta is high and we get some bullish convergences on smaller time frames, then those folks are going to get they're probably going to get destroyed here shortly. Okay, generally consensus. So let's take a quick look here at the overall liquidation delta. Sorry, we already looked at that. Open interest rather. We can see super heavy concentration of volume at about $52. So being below that, generally construed as a bearish sign, or more so, that's just somewhat of a resistance for us. Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking at there. When we take a look here at AVAX on the macro, once again, as per usual, we're seeing the price action above all moving averages, still looking pretty strong, even though we rejected off the 70 range here. We're still maintaining a pretty good RSI, and overall, with the money flow index, is pretty high. It's a good sign. The only thing I don't love here on the weekly is a second stochastic divergence here, kind of letting us know that we could very well see the price pull back a little bit further, because anytime that you have a second pump, the likelihood of further upside or breakout from there is lower. Not to say we couldn't still find some smaller time frame plays on AVAX. The truth is, though, from a bigger picture, shifting momentum to the downside is a potential reality here for us, especially considering we haven't closed above $60. That's that local high back from March earlier this year. Okay, so again, the weekly doesn't look terrible, but it's still slightly more bullish than bearish. However, we just got to be mindful that the tentative top is in. Unless we can get above $60, that rough estimate of $60 is that resistance range for us. Granted, we're closer to 50 right now. That's a different story altogether, but just letting you know from the macro perspective, 60 is that level we really got to close above to have any kind of luck. That's what this red line is on the chart. Daily time frame. Let's recognize that we are stochastically swinging down. Pretty common right now for most altcoins because they were suffering over the weekend. RSI is still over 50. Money flow index right there with it. MACD diverging. From a momentum standpoint, we should be going down. That's what it's basically telling us. However, from a moving average scenario here, we're still looking fairly well bullish. So I'd say until we close below 49, we have no reason to consider shorting into this. Okay, 4-hour time frame. Similar scenario here. We're right there smack dab at kind of in the middle of all moving averages, kind of letting us know that we're shifting momentum from bearish to bullish. We can see here as well, the same thing as also with 50 on the RSI getting really close. We can see a second stochastic swing to the upside. Money flow index right there with it. So generally speaking, the 4-hour time frame looks pretty decent, pending we don't close $49 or lower, right? So I like what I see here. While it's not perfect, it's still definitely positive. Hourly time frame is probably going to tell us that we're still under the cloud, which we are, letting us know generally that it's not really the smartest play to take a trade until the price closes above $50 or $51, mainly because while we've been maintaining this range, we're still establishing lower highs and lower lows from a bit of a macro perspective, and that's generally unfavorable. So I'd be looking for a closure above 50 at the very least today to have some legs to stand on. But more importantly, I'd prefer to see a closure somewhere in like the $51 range or higher. That would give me some confidence in wanting to take a long. So that's kind of where we're at there. AVAX is not in a bad situation here, a bad place. It's starting to bottom out. It certainly looks like, but once again, we got to make sure that if we retest this lower area of $49, it's probably going to continue lower. Okay, so be careful if this price starts trending towards 49. And I would recommend, again, waiting for a closure above 51. We're kind of in that gray area right now, which is not really the best situation or scenario to take a trade. Almost there though, folks. I hope you learned something today. Join us over at Bitunix too, in case you haven't already checked this out. Link down below for a $12,000 deposit bonus. Obviously, it's tiered based on how much you deposit, but free money is free money. It's a really awesome exchange. No KYC or VPN required. I do hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll post our playout chart here shortly on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. Thanks again so much for your time. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.